Hey guys, it's GameFace here and welcome back to a FIFA 17 career mode video. It's going to be involving Arsenal today. It was requested by quite a few of you guys to try and transform Arsenal in a similar way that I managed to do with Manchester City in the last mini-series that we did. So welcome to episode 1 of 2, and yeah, we're going to be waiting and seeing how we get on with Arsenal today. It's going to be actually a post-commentary, so hopefully not drag this on for too much longer than it really needs to be. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. If we could go ahead and hit 50 likes on today's episode, I would really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. I really do appreciate the support on these videos. But without further ado, let's crack on with the Arsenal career mode. As you can see, I did try and make the Champions Cup group as realistic as possible. There was one team I couldn't find. We also, as always, will not be doing the pre-season tournaments. We're cracking on with things straight away so we can get on with transfers and that sort of thing. Let's take a look at the objectives first of all. We don't really look at them too much, but it's important to see, in particular, domestic and continental success. Basically, they want us to win the Premier League and also the FA Cup as well, and get into the Champions League final. So, nice and easy set of targets to begin with. Let's take a look at the team selection and decide on a formation, if you like, a philosophy type thing, because that is kind of also what the series is about as well. So we are going to try a 5 at the back, I think, with this team. I'm going to go for almost like a 5-1-2-1-1 kind of formation. Just going to think it best fits the players that we have at the team, really good fullbacks, and hopefully going to be able to use them. Only downside is it does kind of exclude a lot of our wingers. The aim is essentially to make our defence as strong as possible. Some of Arsenal's kind of weaker points, to be honest, we're going to try and strengthen them. So we'll take a look at, first of all, the team and go through the players I'm going to transfer list. Mertesacker being one of them, as you can see here, doesn't really fit into what I'm after. Very, very slow player, as we all know. There'll be quite a few players that I'll list, but I kind of want to make sure we're improving our fullbacks as well, because they can be very, very important for this formation we're going to play. So there'll be a few players going out, particular Monreal I think will be out of the door, so we're going to transfer list him, as well as Debuchy as well. We need certainly another kind of set of fullbacks either side. Hector Bellerin, though, is going to obviously be my starting right back and my right wing back. Also the rest of the players we're going to transfer listing. Again, there's potential players, like I was looking at Eleni, in particular, he could be someone I might replace in the future. And we're going to also list some of the youngsters as well, because of course in this series we're only going on for 2 seasons, and we're not really going to be training any of the youngsters. We're just going to be making the signings and hopefully seeing the results on the pitch. So most of them will be on the way out, only keeping the ones that really we feel like we can actually use in our team selection. So it's kind of the same with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Not really too sure how he'd fit into this side. I'm going to keep him anyway for now, just in case we do decide to change the formation later on down the line. But Yaya Sanogo will be another player on the way out, amongst a few other players as well, but we'll wait and see as we go through. First of all, we are going to try and improve that centre-back position. We need someone to come in. We won't necessarily sign Van Dijk, but we're going to put in a bid for him, and we'll also be putting in for bids for other centre-backs as well. But Van Dijk initially here, 23.5 million is the first bid we're going to put in, and maybe a little bit unoriginal, but we're going to go with Laporte. He kind of fits into our defence. I think he would fit really, really well at the left-hand side of our defence, and obviously playing as a left-hand sided centre-back, so he would really fit into our defence pretty well, so I'm going to go for him. He's going to obviously cost us a lot of money, so obviously these signings aren't particularly realistic. If you've watched the previous one, then you will know that these signings aren't supposed to be that realistic. We're kind of just making them to improve the team as much as possible. So as part of this deal, we're going to get rid of Mertesacker along with 24 million and see what they say to that. Then we're going to bring in hopefully a right fullback or a right wing back, and that's going to be Antonio. Hopefully we're going to take a look at him, try and put in a bid for him, and obviously have him as a backup to Hector Bellerin. He can obviously play further forward as well if we were to later down the line change our formation or whatever. So we are going to put in a bid for him along with Debuchy as well. So it's going to be around £8 million to begin with. Hopefully West Ham are keen to sell him. They were surprisingly more keen than I expected, so the bid was accepted straight away, and we offered him a contract, matched his wage, and made him an important first team player. Similar thing happened with Van Dijk. Southampton accepted the bid we put in, and again we gave him a very, very good contract. Was kind of a little bit undecided whether to give him crucial or important. We gave him crucial in the end, and we've also got Laporte coming back, or I should say Athletic Bilbao coming back and rejecting the bid, so we've had to up that one whilst keeping Mertesacker in. Yaya Sanogo on the way out, hopefully to Birmingham City. Also got a bid for Alexis Sanchez, but he is a huge part of our plans, playing as a striker for us, hopefully, and we are going to just reject all offers for him. The first signing, though, of this career mode is going to be Antonio at right wing back. Debuchy going the other way to West Ham, and we've actually had the bid accepted for Van Dijk, but I'm going to wait on that one. Laporte could well come in hopefully in the future, so we're going to just stall the Van Dijk deal to begin with. But as you can see, Antonio here looking like a very, very good signing for us as a secondary right back, behind Hector Bellerin. Again, Athletic Bilbao was saying unacceptable bid be put in, so we're going to have to up it a little bit. We're going to go with that 32 million plus per Mertesacker and see if that's a little bit closer to their valuation of him. Van Dijk's deal will still remain there, and hopefully we can get in Laporte, who's our preferred choice, really. We've got Espanyol here coming in for Eleni. We're going to ask for a little bit more for him and see whether they are going to accept or not. We had the player sold, Yaya Sonogo. We've also got Laporte's bid finally being accepted, and we can now offer him quite a cheap contract, to be honest, compared to some of the other players. He's also 84 overall, really fits into, I think, this formation very, very well. Espanyol coming back and saying that they'll pay 8 million or 8.5, and we kind of upped it a little bit. We wanted to counter offer and try and get a bit more money from him, but Laporte accepts the contract we offered him, and he is going to be the centre-back that we sign, I believe. We're going to leave the Van Dijk one, that one expired, and we're going to now go for Laporte. Per Mertesacker goes off to Athletic Bilbao, which is also good for us as well, because it doesn't really disrupt things at a Premier League club for us, which is quite nice. Laporte comes into the side and will slot in nicely at the left-hand side of centre-back. Hopefully this formation is going to work. Again, it's kind of just trial and error a little bit. We're going to stick with it for the first season, and we might look to change it in the second season if it doesn't work. On to a left back now. We're going to look at a new one with obviously Monreal hopefully on the way out. Kieran Gibbs is going to remain at the club. Monreal will go out as part of this deal though, potentially for Ryan Bertrand. So 4 million and Monreal for it. We'll also look at a different left back as well. Obviously, we'll be very familiar with this guy from PSG, and we're going to put a bid. It's going to be 5 million plus Monreal this time round, and another bid. We're going to just make sure we keep our options open. It's going to be for Sevilla's left back, very, very good player, a French player as well, and it's going to be a similar sort of deal, including Monreal. And yeah, we're also going to put in one final bid for a left wing back, just so we've got that option, someone that actually plays that position. Emerson at Roma, just quite a cheap bid to begin with. They wanted just over 5 million, I think it was, for him. And again, Espanyol, desperate to try and get an Eleni, but we're still going to counter offer a little bit more money and see what they say. We've had Sevilla come back to us, and they want more money for their left back, so we are going to up it a little bit, 7 million now, and same with PSG. They're actually interested in Monreal, which is always good. So that deal looks more likely to happen, but to be honest, I'm not really too sure which one I want to happen just yet. So we'll wait and see as our bids get rejected by the looks of it, and also hopefully accepted further down the line. This deal for Emerson, though, as you can see, initially I was trying to get about 4 million for him, but again, they wanted a little bit more. Ryan Bertrand's deal, though, was accepted, so he could potentially come in. He's one of the options. We'll wait and see how many options we can get confirmed by the clubs, and we'll get to the contract offer as well for Kurzawa, and see whether we can sign him up potentially. Again, he's one of the 4 options that we have. I might even bring in another one of them just as a backup left back if we need them, so we'll wait and see what happens anyway. We've got Emerson here, a scout report coming back on him, just because I was a little bit curious to see exactly what overall he is. He's 74 overall, so not one of the best ones, quite clearly, but someone maybe for next season, and we've got Sevilla there accepting the bid for their left back, and we will go ahead and match his wage demands. Maybe sign him up, not really too sure at this stage, still scouting him and kind of seeing exactly what he is all about. Got Roma again coming back asking for more money for their left wing back Emerson, and we are going to obviously increase the bid. I'm still interested in him as a potential signing. Like I say, maybe we're doing this a little bit, maybe a season early for him, but still going to pursue that one because they have accepted the bid, as you can see here. We're going to again match the 40 grand a week contract, a little bit expensive for him, but we're going to go with it anyway. He's got a rotational player, and we have 3 choices at the moment for left back, with hopefully Emerson's contract being accepted. Now, we've got a transfer offer in for Carl Jenkinson. It's from Middlesbrough. 2.4 million. We're going to ask for 2.7, try and get as much money from him as possible, but he's not really part of my plans. They've come back and said 2.5. We're going to ask for what he's worth, which is 2.6, and maybe this time they can actually agree to it. And we've actually got all 4 left-backs contracts accepted now, which is fantastic news. So now it's just a case of deciding which one, or which 2 potentially, I want to sign. Now, I did decide to sign this guy from Sevilla. I basically looked at all the stats. They all looked fairly decent, but this guy kind of stood out a little bit more in terms of his pace and physicality as well. And we're also going to actually sign another one of them, Emerson. I thought it'd be important to get someone that actually plays left wing-back in the team, so we're going to sign him up as well. A little bit more of a peculiar signing that maybe not as many people make. Which is something I do like to try and do, get in a few different sort of players if we can, and hopefully that all works out for us. But bad news, really, really bad news. Mustafi is out for 2 months with a really bad injury, so that means already I'm starting to think about potential centre-back cover, because we didn't really have that many centre-backs in the first place. You also just saw that Carl Jenkinson went to Middlesbrough. They matched that deal anyway, and Mathieu is one player we're looking for as cover, but it's only going to be on a short-term loan, just to try and fill in for Mustafi whilst he's out. And we've got a few teams here, Barcelona or Crew. Who would I rather accept the bid for? Anyway, I counted off for both of those offers, the exact same amount, and would wait and see what their response would be. But two interesting offers there. Another interesting offer is for Coquelin, and it's Valencia wanting. We're going to ask for 35 million, try and get again as much money if we are going to sell him, which there is potential to do that, try and mix things up a little bit. Carl Jenkinson also goes to Middlesbrough now as well, and Crew come back and say they're not willing to match the amount that I was asking for, and Matty Yu will not be coming to us on loan from Barcelona. And Barcelona seem a little bit more keen to sign him, so we will just agree to the 350 grand a week, a little bit less than what he's worth. Valencia, though, not willing to pay 35 million, as you can probably expect, so we'll ask for 32.5 this time round instead, which, again, they declined to match. So we'll ask for 30 this time, and maybe they'll go ahead with it, although ultimately I can see them just backing out of the deal, to be honest. Lars Bender's a player we're going to look for, though, just in case we need to get a replacement in, about 20 million for him. We're also going to take a look at Luis Gustavo as well, and start off at about sort of 16 million to begin with, and see whether they were to agree with that. And Wolfsburg actually did accept that, so we go on to the contract offer now, and hopefully he agrees to the 90 grand a week. Hopefully he's okay with relocating, that sort of thing. Crucial first team player, and just a potential player if obviously one of our CDMs was to go out, and we were to sell him. So we've got Bender here coming back, and we've had to up the offer for him. They weren't happy, it was too low for them, that offer. We are going to sim the first league game of the season, beating Liverpool 2-1 to a decent start to the season, so we're very happy with that. And we had Valencia come back there and say they're not going to match that deal. On to the CDMs. Basically had Leverkusen coming back and accepted the bid we put in for Bender eventually. We're going to go crucial first team player. Gustavo, as you might have just seen there, did accept the contract. So it's between those two. We're going to again wait on the deal for Bender and see which is going to be the best option for us. We drew against Leicester, I think, there as well. So not too bad start to the season. On to the two transfers now. I kind of compared them for a little while, decided which kind of fit what I was after. And eventually I came to the conclusion that I thought Bender would be the better option. Even though he's a little bit more expensive, his wage I think was a little bit less actually. But his actual value and what we paid for him was a bit more. But in terms of his stats, I think he kind of fit what I was after a little bit more. We signed another CDM before we got rid of him, by the way. That's always going to be the plan, but I just thought I would show you the fact that we've signed Bender now, but we haven't quite got rid of one just yet. Hopefully that does happen, but we shall wait and see. But that, yeah, pretty much concludes all the business for the opening transfer window. So not as much as maybe I usually do, but I was reluctant to do so much. We do, however, have a few games to look at now. As you can see, we got knocked out of the EFL Cup while simming to January, as we usually do. It's been a little bit of an inconsistent start to the season. The opening half of the season hasn't been great in some ways, but has also been pretty decent against other teams. We've done fairly well, I think, in the Champions League group stage with a win against PSG at one point. And yeah, a few wins here and there against some of the bigger teams as well, which is quite nice to see. So let's wait and find out where exactly we are in the league at January time. Now we've got through the summer transfer window onto January, and as you can see, it's Arsenal, so we're fourth. Not too bad actually, we're only 2 points behind top, so there's still very much a title chance for us come the end of the season. But we've had some really, really bad injuries again. We've had 3 centre-backs now out injured, so we're going to take a look at this guy from Napoli and try and sign him up. 3 really bad injuries in the centre-back position, so we're going to try and get rid of Perez, plus about 13 million, just to see what Napoli say to that. And we're also going to put in a bid for Jamie Vardy as well, maybe not scoring as many goals as we should as a team, so we're going to bring in another goal scorer. Obviously with Perez potentially on the way out, then we definitely need one. So about 15 million just to begin with. I know he's 29 years old, but we're only on this current for 2 seasons. And another CDM as well. We're going to take a look at Nzonzi, 12 million for him plus Eleni, and we've got that deal being accepted straight away and onto his wage contract. Again, just matching what he wants. It's not a particularly high wage relative to obviously some of the other players we have in the squad. Napoli and Leicester both rejecting the bids that we put in for their players. So we're going to continue to pursue this one. He looks really good actually in terms of his stats. So we're going to just up the amount of money as well as Perez. And then Leicester City saying that they want a bit more money for Jamie Vardy. 21 million, which I thought was a bit steep for a 29-year-old. We're going to go 17.5 and hopefully meet somewhere in the middle. And yeah, now on to some transfers. We've got Danny Welbeck being wanted by West Brom. I'm just going to reject all offers. Not really interested in getting rid of him. Quite like him for a bench sort of player. Leicester do actually accept that we put him for Jamie Vardy. We're going to match his massive wage increase, and we'll wait and see whether he's going to move to Arsenal, and we'll submit the offer as an important first team player. And we are on to the Napoli bid now. Napoli again rejecting it. Not particularly interested in Perez, I don't think. We're going to continue to pursue it. We're going to continue to increase the amount we're going to give them, but this time with Theo Walcott. So yeah, we're going going to take Perez out of that deal, clearly not interested. And yeah, on to the next deal. We've managed to sign Nzonzi, which is fantastic news. Eleni goes to Sofia, we get an Nzonzi, decent overall, really decent player, but another player injured. Rob Holding, another centre-back out injured. 3 centre-backs out injured now, and some of them for quite a while as well. Mustafi out for 4 months there, as you can see, so it kind of makes the signing of a new centre-back even more important. Hopefully we can do it here, but it does get rejected yet again. So maybe we're going to have to take Walker out and just go with pure cash. 25 million is what we're going to go with, and maybe they're going to be more willing to sell for that. Vardy accepts the contract, but first we're going to list up Perez, just to make sure he does find his way out the club eventually, and we are going to accept the offer for Jamie Vardy. He does sign 17.5 million, decent signing for us. Thought I would chuck this one in. For some reason Tottenham want Aaron Ramsey. No chance of that happening, even though it was a fairly large bid. It could have been bigger, obviously, but Napoli finally accept the bid we put in for their centre-back. We desperately need one, despite, well, I say that really, but Laporte is now recovering from his injury, and we are going to just sign this guy up anyway. It's better to have too many players than to have too little, really, especially when you're only doing it for 2 seasons. He's going to be an important first-team player for us, and he does sign 25 million. Again, the amounts we're spending on players are definitely not realistic for Arsenal, but we'll continue with it anyway, and he will fit nicely into this side. It's looking like a decent team now for the end of the season. We need to go on and try and win something, obviously out of the EFL Cup. We need to try and do well though in the FA Cup, Champions League, and still the league. We've got Valencia coming in for another one of our players. They want Perez. We're going to ask for what he's worth basically, and hope that they were to match it. They have done, and hopefully he's on the way out for us now, which would be nice to get some money in and also get rid of a player we're not using. As you can see, he does depart. We get a little bit of extra cash in our budgets, and on to, well, the rest of the season basically. We are going to sim a few days. As you can see, we are now out of the FA Cup though. Hull City beat us 2-1, and that means we cannot achieve that objective this season. Very disappointing, but there's still more to be achieved, hopefully in the Champions League and also in the league as well, but we'll wait and see. We're going to sim up to this next game against Dortmund in the round of 16. And we're going to sim the first leg through the calendar. We won that one 2-1. That was a home game though, so they got the away goal. On to the next leg against them. We are the away team this time. We need a result. We need a good result for us here. We need to get through to the next round. Round of 16. We can't go out like Arsenal always do, and we are going to go and concede. Not a great game really for us. 39 minutes in, Weigl does get that goal. I do decide to skip it towards the end of this game, and it really only gets a little bit worse. So we lose the game 2-0, and we're out of the Champions League again. We need to evolve this team, by the looks of it, even more than what we've currently done. However, the positive news is we are top of the league. We are in front of Spurs and Chelsea, which is quite nice for us, obviously. But now we will sim the rest of the season and hope we remain there to try and actually win something. No FA Cup, no EFL Cup, no Champions League. Maybe win the league as a bit of a consolation. I mean, that would be nice. That's one of our targets, to try and do that, set by the board. If we can't achieve any of the other ones, we've got to kind of do something, because we've literally not done any of the objectives they set us. So at this rate, our job's really potentially going to be on the line, and we might even get sacked in the first season. As you can see, we finished 3rd. Great, we lost by 1 point. So yeah, disappointing. We were top of the league to then lose it, and basically we achieved none of our objectives. None of the objectives. The critical ones we did not manage to do. Domestic and continental success did not manage to achieve. That means our job could potentially be on the line here. A manager rating of 57. Really low. And we'll wait and see what the board have to say here. End of the season review. Surprisingly, they've let me keep the job, despite the results being horrific and not really achieving any of the objectives. They said, go on then, have another season. That kind of reminds me of another manager they currently have in charge. But yeah, that's decent. So we do have another season. We've still got time to evolve them. Yes, we didn't really achieve much in the first season, but we didn't really have that many expectations to achieve things, I don't think. So hopefully the second season we can build on the team, obviously bring in some more players. Let me know in the comments below what sort of players you'd like to see join Arsenal. I was looking at Lukaku potentially joining us. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Also, if we could go ahead and hit 50 likes on today's episode, I would really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. It'll be absolutely fantastic. And yeah, come back next time for more. Hopefully we can win something next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.